that will be a model that we can replicate all across the country.
Right. Why not? If we so aggressive, right? Why not?
I just want to chime in real quick. Thank you. So there's a group of us that are having this conversation now, so we're just going to loop you into this conversation. Beautiful. Because we're trying to do it statewide, getting all 14 counties, all 14 sheriffs doing it, and it might not necessarily take a law, but rather the Secretary of the Commonwealth to promulgate some regulations. Now, what will take a law, and I think it is worth fighting for, is universal enfranchisement to make sure that those who are incarcerated, even those who are serving felonies, are still able to vote, which many folks don't know was allowed in Massachusetts up until the year 2000, when Governor Paul Cellucci initiated a constitutional amendment process to take the right to vote away from people who were incarcerated. So we can go back to what we used to do, but even for where we are right now with people who are either detained pretrial or serving a sentence on a misdemeanor, we can work with the sheriffs and the Secretary of the Commonwealth to promulgate some regulations to make sure that people are actually having the opportunity to vote. So I'll follow up with you and loop you into this conversation with these other organizations, and we can do this and make it happen for the general election.
Awesome. Amen. Right. And we would love to, make sure that that's mentioned at the event this Friday. I'll make sure to see if Cheryl Crawford can also mention this. Yes. But if you're available and present, at this Friday, you can speak right after Cheryl about this very piece. So the opportunity presented itself is on the table, is for you to pick it up, and run with it. Absolutely. So if you're available this Friday from 3 to 6 p.m., please come down to the State House. We'll make sure that your piece is elevated and amplified, at this event, at this press conference. And so what I also want to say was, as it relates to voting, for brothers and sisters that are behind the wall, it only makes sense to allow our brothers and sisters to vote, because if you can allow our people and our brothers and sisters to be stripped away from their family, to be put in other communities across the country in the boondocks, and allow the census to use to give funding for those communities and those in the boondocks, then you can allow for our people and our brothers and sisters to register to vote. I just wanted to make that clear, because if you can use black bodies, black and brown bodies, specifically black bodies, for the census for a number count in Norfolk, you know what I mean? Then you can use those same black bodies to say, we need to allow them to register to vote. You hear me? And so let's make sure that we can make that happen. And I want to make sure that I pass it off to our brother, DL. A brother is an artist, an actor, and a father, as well as a proud member of Brothers Business. So with that, brother, I know you've been patiently waiting. It's on you.
I've been patiently waiting for a track to explode on.
Go ahead.
So, real short and sweet. I feel like for me, I embody what enough is. I don't feel like I'm in the activist space, even though that's sometimes bestowed upon me from the different things that I'm doing. I don't feel like I'm doing enough or as much as I could be doing. Right? So when I think of activists, I think of my brother James. I think of my sister Monica. Right? I think of my brother Minister Randy Muhammad. I don't feel like I'm in that space, so I don't put myself in that space. However, enough is enough. And so there's no time anymore to stand on the sidelines and just kind of talk silently and maybe send a tweet and complain. Right? I unfollowed 3 people today, and I'm going to keep with the unfollowing of black people, men and women, who are online going out of their way to say just how bad Biden and Harris ticket is to Trump and Pence. Right? Like, I'm not interested, because when you're making comments like that, what are you saying exactly? Are you bowing out from the whole process and you're just going to do locally? Or do you demand more of these two before voting for them? Or you hold, what's the conversation? But I'm no longer interested in people just saying, well, I'm not voting for either party, man, because both of us have been. I'm not interested. No longer. Enough is enough. Enough is enough when it comes to the treatment that we have been succumbed to and have been just, dealing with. We have been going along status quo. Now all of a sudden things is Black Lives Matter. You got banners on Amazon websites. You got Black Lives Matter in people's
Boston
lawns.
Red Sox.
And that's all good, right? But what does that mean? What is the actual systems and structure, the structural dismantling have you done personally?
Right.
Like, I don't want to go and click on a radio website and see Black Lives Matter.
Right.
It doesn't make me feel warm and tingly, right? So when you talk about all these different things, as far as Breonna Taylor and you know, everything that happened with that went wrong, and you can look on paper, right? You can see every single thing that went wrong and resulted in this woman's death, this woman's murder. Then recently, the video that just passed around. I'm making a point of not passing along those videos because, in my opinion, it's death porn, right? And I'm not interested in watching our lives be stripped away. Just like I'm not interested in going on World Star and seeing whatever it is. So enough, right? When it comes to Friday, what Friday represents to me is, you know, the minds coming together collectively from different parts of life that is saying enough is enough, right? So I am not interested no longer in sitting beside someone who says, yeah, man, you know, it's rough out here. Okay, now what exactly? What's the next step? What's the next conversation?
What are you going to do?
You know what I'm saying? And so whether it's brothers building, whether it's 10,000 fearless peacemakers, that obviously with COVID, it completely dismantled a lot of the efforts that we were doing on the ground level. You know what I'm saying? But 10,000 fearless, brothers building, you know, King's Table, which I co-founded. Shout out to Roland Baptiste.
Yes, sir.
You know, and James was also a part of that. You know,
so real quick, just to say, the King's Table is I want folks to really know what this was. So Brother DL created this space for young men who are behind the walls of DYS to sit at the table with brothers like myself, brothers like Ro, brothers like Dom, Minister Randy, to learn from, you know, to hear from brothers that been through struggle, that been in the streets and transitioned and changed their life for the betterment of themselves, their family, their community. And King's Table is extremely important because I just want folks to know that we're talking about the same stuff that we're talking about right now is the same stuff that we talked about with our young brothers that are in the DYS system. But I just want to make sure that we elevate that because that's the way for us to keep them civically engaged and aware of what's happening and why it's important to, you know, try to take action around, you know, things positively that's happening in their community and people that look like them, that mirror them, that they can look up to and lead by example. But with that, I wanted to ask you, DL, you know, as a member of Brothers Building, talk about, you know, the process of us coming up with this idea, you know what I mean, and how we had to make sure it happened briefly.
So Brothers Building, you know, we meet every week, we meet every Wednesday, you know, virtually, obviously, and we were venting, you know what I'm saying? When COVID first happened, it was a lot of brothers just doing mental check-ins, right? Then it got to the point of just seeing all the ills that was happening and having these discussions. Then it just organically started growing into we need to do something. We can no longer just sit in our little privacy of our Zoom calls and vent and complain, right? What's the next step? So the first thing that we did and the first thing that we were a part of, and we're going to have a follow-up conversation soon with Sister State Rep China Tyler, right? So there was a commission for black men and boys. So that was the first thing that Brothers Building officially kind of took hold of, championed, and did that.
And was able to pass through legislation.
And that was passed, and that was successful, right? So now comes the work, because now it's not like it's happy and fun now. Now we got to really do the work, start digging through and molding it to where it's supposed to be. So fast forward, this was talked about with DC. And for us, we knew, a lot of us on the call knew that we weren't going to go to D.C., right? Just for safety and other logistics. So we wanted to do something that was going to address the ills locally, right? And really bring it home and make something where it's attainable for everybody. So whether you are able to be there physically, you could be there online, whatever it is. But we're going to address the nuts and bolts of what happens in this city and in this state and in this region. So, you know, that's what kind of came about. And there was a lot of just plucking through. We had agenda items. Not everything is going to be addressed, because the last thing I'll say, as black people, We have so many different things that we want addressed and we want fixed now, right? And we need to understand that there is sometimes an agenda. Like if you're having an operations meeting, right? You can't talk about everything.
Right.
Let's just have the top 5 things. Let's get through those things, and then we'll reconvene next time. And so enough is we're having a conversation with these particular items, right? Then we will address these things, start working on it, and we need all hands on deck. I'm no longer interested in people that's on the sidelines and critiquing, right? While you're sitting on your couch. I'm not interested. If you're not standing right beside me or standing across from me, I don't want to hear it. Period. And that's that.
And so I know that we're close on time, but I want to say that, you know, here we are today, you know what I mean, making sure that we get our people to show up. Enough of the racial injustices that black folks continue to face in Massachusetts. And I know really quickly, I just want to say that you know, shout out to the NAACP Boston, Tanisha Sullivan, shout out to Rasan Hall, ACLU, shout out to Willie Broderick, shout out to every brother and sister that is going to be a part of our program this Friday. We have a powerful program of brothers and sisters who are revolutionary and are ready to stand up for what is rightfully ours for black folks. And I also want to give a shout out to the Boston Foundation for the sponsorship support, along with BECMA, the Boston Economic Council of Massachusetts, and our brother Sugan for the sponsorships. Thank you all for all of the support, and we're going to make sure that we show up, because enough is enough, and we want to make sure that our folks are civically engaged, whether they show up to the polls September 1st, the actual primary, but we want to make sure that folks are civically engaged, and a part of that is by showing up. And this Friday, it'll be great for y'all to show up. Thank you to Priscilla for inviting us on the civic engagement. Thank you to Rev Hobbs for also, you know, making sure that we're having all the technical pieces, but also adding to the importance of brothers and sisters that need to have the opportunity to vote from behind the walls. Thank you to all of that, but we got work to do, y'all. Enough is enough. On that note,
that's
sister.
Right. That's right. So how many minutes I have, Pastor Hobbs? 2? Okay. So you all don't forget, on Thursday morning from 8 to 9 is the BG report, and 9 to 10 is People Power with Priscilla. We are the people and we have the power. We just have to learn how to exercise it. We have to learn how to speak up and stand out. And it's time out. It's time out for all this craziness. It's time for us to come together and work together so that we can make real change for our children and our children's children. Because God forbid, 50 years from now, our kids are fighting for the same thing we fight now. That means that we have failed. That means that we have failed.
And that's one of the main reasons why I felt it was important for us to host this event as well, because I don't want to have my son, my daughter, and my baby, my newborn that's coming soon, Justice, to be coming in this world and still have to deal with the social injustices that we have to face, that our ancestors have faced. So enough is enough.
Exactly.
Yes. So Pastor Hobbs, we want to thank you for being the co-sponsor of this program, Civic Engagement Hour.
Yes, thank you.
I've been talking about doing it, Pastor Hobbs, so let's do it. So we're doing it. You know, it's true. We can do it. We be doing it. So hopefully and prayerfully, you know, people will come out, and I'll talk about it also Thursday. And you're welcome to call back on Thursday, and we'll try to get as many people as we can. We know about social distancing, and you know, make sure you wear your mask and all that good stuff. You know, but let's do this, people. I'm ready. I've been ready. Fired up, ready to go.